had your door dusted for prints. My door? What for? Come on, I bet you didn't find anything. You sure are good at wasting time. You know what? I didn't find anything. And definitely not Miss Bud's fingerprints. Her prints? What do they have to do with anything? Let's put it this way. If he really was the one who opened your door, then her prints should naturally be on the doorknobs he touched. Ah! Further, all the prints on my office doorknobs have been wiped clean off. I can only assume it's because Miss Bud's fingerprints were on it. Don't you think it's time you gave up your charade? We know you stole into my office with the intent of stealing something from me. Detective Faith found you out. Possibly because he heard some sounds coming from a room whose occupant was on leave. Mr. Portsman, you killed Mr. Faith to silence him. And I had the misfortune to return when I did. You had to threaten me as you escaped. As I said, when you had the gun to my back, no one gets away with committing murder in my office. And just what's so funny, pal? Oh, that look of stiff seriousness on the face of this office's finest prosecutor. As he makes a huge mistake in accusing me is simply too much to bear. There's just nothing else like it in the ward. What? Mr. Edgeworth just exploded awe. He even backed it up. You're the murderer. Stop trying to be slippery and just admit to the crime already. And as I said earlier, it's also circumstantial, so full of conjecture. You say you checked my doorknob for prints? Well, I can readily confess that I had wiped that knob down well. I'm a little obsessive compulsive, you see. I don't want to touch the doorknob that you had touched. Which is why I wiped the knob down as soon as I could after you opened the door. After that, it makes perfect sense that only Jim's and my own prints would be on there. You made that up just now, didn't you? Furthermore, as for the note Jim left me, do you know exactly when that was? For all we know, he could have left it there before I arrived at the office. Like early evening, for example. You say you failed to notice a note in your doorway. Hey, even geniuses fail at times. I was probably too preoccupied by work-related matters. Oh, that's no excuse. Now, that's just a flat-out lie. There's no way you didn't notice a note of that size. But you can't prove that, can you? Say something, Mr. Edgeworth. Back me up here. That makes a good point. I can't prove that he didn't simply overlook it. Besides, I have an airtight alibi. Airtight, you say? I only just realized I had one as we were talking. I guess it would have been better for all of us if I had told you sooner. Memory serves, you came back to this office at around 2 a.m., correct? And it was then that you had that unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit. But exactly that time, I was down in criminal affairs. Ask around. I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. It's the perfect alibi. Do you really think it's that perfect? Like I said, I don't care. Ask around all you like. You see for yourself. Detective Gumshoe. Sir, yes, sir. I'll go check out his alibi, sir. Be right back. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, I think we're in trouble. It's just like Mr. Portsman said. The guys down in criminal affairs said they saw him at around 2 a.m. You see? All of the evidence points to him being the culprit. There must be a contradictory point in his alibi somewhere. Memory serves. You came back to this office at around 2 a.m., correct? And it was then that you had that unfortunate...
Hold it!
You're correct, it was around 2 a.m. Are you sure? It's really important to me that you're spot on with the time. I was checking my watch then, and make no mistakes. It was 2. Ooh, giving testimony like a pro, okay. So you came back to your office at 2. And it was then that you had that unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit.
Hold it!
As you say, however. Yes, however, you are the only one who claims to have bumped into the culprit. So tell me, did you see the person's face? Was it me who you saw? It was pitch black, so I couldn't actually see.
Objection!
Oh, come now. I'm sure you saw something. Try a little harder, why don't you? I'm beginning to feel like I'm the one being interrogated here. Oh, well, it doesn't matter if you remember or not. It only matters that you ran into the culprit. But exactly that time, I was down in criminal affairs.
Hold it!
So you paid the criminal affairs department a visit. Yep. Right after I left the prosecutor's building, I headed straight for the precinct. Ask around, I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. It's the perfect alibi.
Hold it!
We did go and ask around to confirm your testimony. It was just as I said, right? Yes, sir. A number of detectives said that they saw you at around that time. See? I have the perfect alibi. That's the ace I had up my sleeve. Ugh! Impossible. He actually does have the perfect alibi. What's wrong? Why is sudden sullen look on your face? Can't you say something, anything back, Mr. Edgeworth? I think we reached the end of the line. It's time to get off this crazy train. You there! Stop! Please escort the young lady out. Remember, be gentle. Maggie! Detective Gumshoe! Is there nothing I can do? There must be a way to turn this situation around. If only I had a clue. Did I miss something that can help me cast doubt on his alibi? I need to calmly think this through one more time, and with logic. There were 2 bullets left at the scene of the crime. One that robbed Mr. Faith of his life, and one that nearly robbed me of my jacket. However, the mortar weapon only shows sign of being fired once, meaning that it is entirely possible that a second gun was used in my office tonight. But seeing as how the killer had to steal Mr. Faith's gun, I doubt the killer had another gun up their sleeve. Therefore, the second gun could have been the property of an entirely different person. Which could mean that there was another person who paid a visit to my office tonight. Supposing there was yet another visitor tonight, that would also resolve the issue of why myself were upended twice. We know that the selves were disturbed once before and once after the murder. So it shouldn't be much of a stretch to think that it was the work of 2 different people. Once by the person who stole the victim's gun and then killed him with it. And once again after the murder by our second culprit. Who was the owner of the second gun? If we suppose that the second culprit's gun was the one that was pointed at my back.
Objection!
Mr. Portman, it seems that I need to amend my assumptions regarding this case. Great, so you finally come to your senses. Mr. Hedgeworth! Sir, what are you saying? This has been a big misunderstanding on my part from the start. I'd assumed that the person I ran into was the killer, but that may be not the case. What do you mean? The person I ran into was just your average thief. A thief? But sir, doesn't that cause some sort of contradiction in the facts? Not at all. It simply means that the killer was someone else. It means that in actuality, two culprits stole into my office tonight. What do you mean two? It explains both why my cells were disturbed twice and how there were two guns. Mr. Portman tricked Miss Bud and gained entry into my office. Objection! Now you're just leading the argument. You still don't have any actual proof, you know. If you could please go along with my hypothetical scenario for now, Mr. Portman. In the end, if you really are innocent, you should have nothing to worry about. Now then, returning to my scenario, Mr. Portman was out to steal something from me. Which is why he checked my secret safe and ransacked my cells. This is the first time. So then, this would be when the files were put back in the wrong order, right? Correct. And then just when he was about to look somewhere else, who should walk in but his own partner, Mr. Faith? But why did Mr. Faith come into your room, sir? He probably had business with Mr. Portman, which is why he was in the area. But that's when he noticed sounds coming from my office, would be my guess. Ooh, because you were supposed to be away, right? And he must have thought it was odd, so he came into this office to check it out. Correct. And as a detective, that was the right thing to do. When he came in, he found his own partner standing there. Because it was Mr. Portman, Mr. Faith probably let his guard down. Mr. Portman was not so merciful as to let him leave alive. He waited for a chance and stole Mr. Faith's gun from him and then... killed him. He silenced Mr. Faith for catching him in the act of stealing. This was the moment in which the first shot was fired, the one that landed in my files. Following that, Mr. Portman wiped the gun down and left it behind as he made his exit. He could afford to do that because he had also left a fake dying message behind. You're such a complicated troublemaker, you know that? Well, if things were as simple as that, they all would be solved. However, there was yet another visit to my room, and this is where it gets complicated. There was another visitor, sir? This other person's objective was to also steal something from me. Now then, even after Mr. Portman left, the door to my office remained unlocked. However, this new visitor had no way of knowing that, and so they stole the master key from the security guard's room, and then entered my room and searched through my shelves. This was the second time they were disturbed, and it seems the thief found their prize. The stolen zero file, right, sir? Correct. Only just as the thief was about to leave with the file, I appeared. thief then threatened me with their own gun and made their escape. The second bullet was fired during that brief encounter. So, the self-escape messed up twice and the 2 bullets. It was all because 2 different people were doing those things at 2 different times? Precisely. So now, do you see, Mr. Portsman? The person I met was just a thief and was not, in fact, Mr. Faith's killer. Your alibi for the time frame in which I ran into the other person is now irrelevant. Because we now know that the murder took place during the first culprit's visit. Objection! What's so funny, pal? Absolutely splendid. Your scenario explains everything. Of course it does. It's Mr. Edgeworth, after all. But you know, it still doesn't change the fact that it's all circumstantial. Supposing if, and that's a big if, your theory is right, it would indeed render my alibi, which has withstood scrutiny, mind you, irrelevant. But there is still one defending point of your argument for which you have no evidence. Defining. Your supposition that I was the first visitor. Mr. Ezra, you can't let him get away with that, sir. But he has a point. I have absolutely no proof at this point. Don't say that, sir. I don't believe this. Don't worry, Maggie. I'll do something if I must. You know something? I find your actions to be somewhat particular, Mr. Edgeworth. The person you really met was just a plain old thief. And why is that person not your main suspect? That is, if your theory is correct. That thief you ran into should be a real suspect, wouldn't you say? We should be out there looking for that thief right now. They might still be nearby. I hate to repeat myself, but as I've already said, I was training in my room. And when Jim came to throw some evidence to me, I was down at criminal affairs. So I can't be expected to know what happened around here after I left. So you think we should be out there looking for the thief? Of course! Now isn't the time to be having these dead-end discussions? I don't think it's at all dead-ended. I find your alibi to be fascinating. Let's continue where we left off, shall we? I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. I just have to find a way to prove it. If you weren't interested in me, you're a real suspect, wouldn't you say? We should be out there looking for that thief right now. He might still be nearby. I hate to repeat myself, but as I've already said, I was training in my room. And when Jim came to deliver some evidence to me, I was down at criminal affairs. Hold it! Why didn't you go there with Mr. Faith? That's because he said he was tired and he was going to take a quick nap. You know those sofas in the hallway? He likes to sleep on those. It's one of his habits. And one of the evidence he brought. They were things related to yesterday's case. There's 2 items. A gun and a pendant. Interesting. This piece of testimony seems too crucial to let slip through the cracks. He brought me 2 items, a gun and a pendant, that were related to yesterday's case. Objection! Only 2 pieces. I believe the proper phrase here is, you fail. Excuse me? You fail as a prosecutor, Mr. Portsman, as you intend to keep evidence hidden from me. What are you talking about? I haven't hidden anything from you. Well, here's a piece I think you should read carefully. It says that Mr. Faith was bringing 3 pieces. Yes, and this is the victim's real dying message to you, Mr. Portsman. I can't believe to get tripped up by simple arithmetics. Where is the missing piece of evidence? It's... You have it, don't you? Only the guilty would make such a face. Detective Gumshoe. You don't have to say it, sir. I'll pat the guy down from head to toe. Don't come any closer. I'm warning you. This is all part of the investigation, pal. Don't even think about stopping me. No! Hey, what's this? He had this on him, sir. Despite what you said, it would appear that you do have something to hide. Why would he hide something like that? There's only one reason why anyone would hide evidence of this caliber. Because it would unequivocally point to that person himself as the killer. Let's examine this videotape in a little more detail. For the section of the tape that would drive the last nail into his coffin. That's blood, isn't it? Yes, and I believe this is what the good prosecutor was trying to hide from us. This blood is still fresh. You mean this might be Detective Faith's blood? No, you got it all wrong. No amount of denial can save you. We have but to run a blood test to find the truth. You told us that you had received evidence from the victim earlier. Now you will tell us when and how did the victim's blood find its way onto this video? Yeah, it's solely suspicious. Was it at the moment of his death? Did Detective Faith have this videotape on his personage when you killed him? You know very well there's no way to prove that. And even if we were to examine this tape for fingerprints, I had to take a guess. I'd say that the only ones on here who would belong to the murderers, you and Mr. Faith. No, impossible. Mr. Portsman has been placed under arrest for the murder of Detective Buddy Faith, sir. Very good. And the results we got back from the lab techs on the tape turned out to be real solid, sir. The bullet came back and it was definitely Mr. Faith's blood on there. And as the murders, they were able to also lift a few of Mr. Faith's fingerprints as well. Thank you so much, Mr. Edgeworth. I can't believe I still got to see your cool deduction skills outside of the courtroom. I'm impressed beyond words, sir. It was nothing. I'm just sorry you got caught up in a murder in my office. Please accept my apologies. Oh, it was nothing. Really, compared to what I've been through, I mean. I count myself lucky that it was only a burglary and a murder this time. If it had been a hold-up or a hostage situation, I'd have thrown my hands up in the air. I think I'm finally rising up from a goddess of misfortune to just an unlucky person. Something tells me we would have hired a different person for security details. We should have hired a different person for security details. You know something, sir? That Mr. Portman really was one corrupt prosecutor. And why would you say he was corrupt? Well, I heard that there were a number of suspicious things related to his court cases. There's even rumors about how some of the evidence he uses is forged, sir. Forged evidence, huh? And they say he would even decide not to prosecute a few cases for some really vague reasons. Ooh, that guy was a complete disgrace to the entire profession. When never did get around to asking what his reason was for breaking into my office. Yeah. Whenever we got near that topic, he just clammed up. Though we can pretty certain that it was still something. This is just between you and me, so, but there's a rumor that some sort of huge organization is involved behind the scenes. Oh, well. Mr. Portsman not willing to divulge anything, it seemingly lends credence to that rumor. It would seem that we haven't heard the last of this. That Mr. Portsman isn't the bad guy? I didn't say that, but rather that there are still many more mysteries for us to solve. For example, we still haven't figured out the significance to this piece of evidence. Take that! The person who stole this fire. The other villain of the night. Yeah, I wonder who it was. And what happened to the stolen pages? I wonder who in the world was it that held me up at gunpoint? Mr. Edgeworth, sir! Yes. I came across this while I was processing your office earlier, sir. Discord. What is it, sir? Is that a bird or something on there? It's not just any bird. It is the mark of the Raven, a three-legged raven. Even you should know what this is, detective. Oh, it's about that thing, isn't it? That great thief everyone's talking about? Yes, it is the mark of the great thief, Yatagasharu. Under the mark of a legendary bird, the Yatagasharu is noble to the end, a modern Robin Hood. Labeled mysterious and phantom-like, the Yatagasharu appears in vanishes at will. Though we don't know much about this thief's ultimate goal, we do know the targets. The Yatagasharu likes to find and make public evidence of corrupt dealings of all sorts. The theft is always performed in silence and always with perfection. Once a target is chosen, no dramatic call-and-call announcement is sent forth. Instead, the chosen cooperation is infiltrated without even the target noticing. Some days later, the evidence that was found is sent out to the mass media, along with this single card. Although it has been a while since the Yatagasharu's last appearance. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth, look, something's written on the back! What? Let me see. It's the location of where the thief put the stolen fires. The person who stole the contents of the fire was the Yatagasharu. Yatagasharu. Organization. Quite a few keywords are popping up in this mystery. The murderer in my office. The return of the great thief, Yatagasharu. Looking back, I can't say I didn't see these events coming. For they were heralded by the incidents that began to occur 2 days ago.